Well, good evening, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Blue Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's having a great day. We are rolling closer and closer to the NFL draft, and it's becoming clear right now the Dallas Cowboys. It's becoming clear. In fact, the whole draft is coming clear. What's coming clear is this thing is about to get wild, and nobody really knows what they're talking about. We are all over the map because now we're talking about the Cowboys may be interested in actually getting an offensive lineman that Josh Simmons? Is it Josh Simmons? It may be Josh Simmons. But offensive tackle may be the guy that they're looking at. Now, of course, what gives us credence is he was injured for a lot of the season, that he literally took the patella tendon, which is the tendon that holds your kneecap in place. Oh, he tore that. Yeah, so that's, he's supposed to be able to start doing workouts and things again and so on. So there's that. But I think the Cowboys are, because the rumor on this started from a Dallas Cowboys insider. And I can remember last year with Mike Fisher, or excuse me, 2 years ago, when Mike Fisher was talking about the Cowboys were intrigued by C.J. Stroud. You know, we heard, of course, Jerry Jones, who definitely was talking about Travis Hunter on the helicopter. And of course, we've had people that have, got us tied to, of course, Ted McMillan or Matthew Golden and so on. And so I think we're getting actually scammed here, or not so much us, as it is they're trying to make sure that the competition has no idea what they're doing. And they're doing a great job of this right now, that nobody really knows in what direction, or they're leaving all their doors open to see what happens. It very may be that they really do like, Matthew Golden or McMillan, and they really want those guys. But it is conceivable, depending on how the draft goes, because a lot of times what will happen is all of a sudden there's a player picked early in the draft that people aren't expecting, and then others start to panic. You can look at when we got Taco Charlton. That's exactly what happened. The Cowboys were sitting here. First of all, they had a need because this is before DeMarcus Lawrence became the DeMarcus Lawrence who was, one of the defensive MVPs, candidates. I think he ended up being third that year. He had 14 and a half sacks. But that season before that happened, he was coming off of a very disappointing year before, had back surgery. I think he had one sack and stuff, and was suspended for PEDs. And so the Cowboys knew that they needed help as far as edge rushing. And what happened, and I remember being in Philadelphia, was all of a sudden all the edge rushers started flying off the board. And I think the Cowboys panicked. And they had Taco on their board, and they said, TJ Watt, he's undersized for what we like. Let's go with the guy that's more raw, who fits the build that we like. And it blew up in their face. It literally blew up in their face, because we look at TJ Watt now, and we know TJ Watt is one of the best edge rushers in football. And so things like that happen, that let's say the New York Giants, instead of going for Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, decides that they're going to go ahead and get Sador. Now all of a sudden, people start getting crazy and saying, oh crap, there's a run of quarterbacks. And then all of a sudden, Jackson Dart might be coming in play earlier than people would think. Because really, I think Jackson Dart, really, they think of him as a second round quarterback. But when you're desperate for a position, somebody might say, oh shit, he might not be there in the second half of the draft. And all of a sudden they move up and they try and grab it. And I think the Cowboys have literally left their options open. First round, they want a running back. They want a wide receiver. those guys aren't there that you look at and say they're top of the line guys. You pivot to the best player that's available. That's the bottom line. And so I think that's why we're hearing so many different scenarios here of guys that they like, that maybe they're feeling that, yeah, we like these receivers, but we don't think they're going to be there. Boy, how do I bridge this one? So we had this morning Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe, I think it's safe to say that Shannon Sharpe's a bit of a freak. Okay? I think it's safe to say that. Ain't nothing wrong with it for two consenting adults. Shannon Sharpe gets sued this morning in civil court for $50 million. And for sexual improprieties. You know, one of the things that the plaintiff claimed is that he talked about killing her after she was going to put out her location on Instagram, and talked about choking her. Shannon Sharpe has come back with his legal team with a lot of explicit text messages from the alleged victim. And I don't want to get into a lot of graphic details. You can look up Shannon Sharpe's dump or look on Twitter, because I think there was like 40 pages of them. But, you know, one of the things that she talked about was like his sexy chocolate rear end, in which case she said, you know, she'd pay $25,000 per cheek. And he responded, well, bring $50,000 on over here then. But there was a dog collar that was mentioned in there, that she liked to have this dog collar on and get choked, and there's handcuffs and just a lot of freaky stuff in these text messages back and forth. And this may be, again, it's, you know, until the truth comes out completely, this may be an extortion attempt, because it came out a couple days ago, Shannon Sharpe's about to get a $100 million contract for doing podcasts. And it may be one of those things that literally, you know, he just moved on, and she's going to be like, okay, I'm going to get you. And this sounds very similar to what happened with Dak Prescott last year. I think it was last year, or was it 2 years ago? I think it was last year, where basically he was going to be sued for $100 million. Here's the thing. You know, everybody's got their own little freaky things that they like, or so on. But you have to understand that life now is different than when I grew up. When I grew up, it was like my dad going to work at the post office every day to make an honest living. My generation was, nothing was handed to you, you had to earn it. That's why my first job was working at McDonald's while I was still in high school and playing football and running track. Hard work. That's how you got paid. You wanted something, you had to work for it. Today, this generation, nah, man, it's about easy money. Who can I screw over? Who can I hack? You know, I'm sitting here saying, oh, let me give you this warning too. The catcha thing, you know, where you get the block, it's got like 9 squares, and you have to tell them which one's got the bicycle or the motorcycle or the stoplight in. Now the hackers are piggybacking on that, where they'll take you to another step, where it'll be like, oh, enter, you know, control this, that, and the other, and next thing you know, you've been hacked. So you can't even trust the things they're supposed to. Make sure that you're human and not hacking them. So everything is about screwing people over. Saw this thing earlier tonight about all of these handmade bags. I got this Helen or whatever her name is, this old woman that looks like your grandmother who's been building bags for 35 years and stuff, or Henry and his watches and stuff. And they've got these AI basically individuals. It's not even real people, pictures, and they're paid actors who are the testimonials. And it's buying cheap shit from China and telling you that it's handmade 35 years in the United States and stuff like that. The watches the dude was getting were, he could find on one site for 99 cents. They were $50, supposedly discounted from Henry's and stuff. And so it's like, everybody is looking for easy money. Nobody wants to work for it. And when you're a Shannon Sharpe or a Dak Prescott or somebody famous, they're looking to target you in the same way. You know, you're going to get hacked, either by your computer or in the court of public opinion. And so that's why you have to understand, you need to look at everything in life like somebody's trying to get over on you. Because chances are, a lot of people are trying to get over on you. And if you don't protect yourself, you could end up losing everything. Now, this sounds like Shannon Sharpe has got the receipts here to prove that he's innocent, but I don't know that you really want to have all these freaky deaky texts out there to prove that you're innocent. It's still not a win. So protect yourself, people. Don't do anything out there that you need to look over your shoulder about. And always feel like somebody is watching you, because more than likely, somebody's always watching you. Be careful out there. And stay away from that freaky shit. So, we'll see what tomorrow holds as we get closer to the NFL draft. Again, now all of a sudden, after us getting a taste of Ted McMillan and Golden, before that, we ended up having Genty. You know, we were like, oh, we're going to get Genty and all that. And then, of course, he moved up. And now, all of a sudden, now we're on an offensive tackle. I guess the defensive tackle will be tomorrow. I think it'll be defensive tackle tomorrow. Such is the life of a Dallas Cowboys YouTuber. As always, good people, I appreciate you all. And remember, tell people you love how much you love them. And not only that, try and find a way to spend time with the people that you love too. Because when they're gone, there is nothing you can do about the time that you missed. I love you guys. And hopefully, I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.